So when I got to Form 3, I decided I don't think this school is very conducive for me. First of all, the school fees is kind of much. My parents have separated, and I have one of the parents is giving me very serious conditions that I have to follow. One of them was you're not to talk to your mother. Sorry to anybody watching this who was in Naruburu Girls. I went with so many things. There was a kulikuwa na kamusi, kulikuwa na dictionary. No, there was I had gone with. Okay, fine. I was a pretty little thief at that time. Please don't come at me. I didn't know better. But I plan to go back there and do the necessary now that I'm outing myself anyway. I knew I was going for the interview. I studied. I did some vitu zingine hata nilikuwa naziona for the first time when I was studying for that interview. And I'm pretty sure the teachers had taught in class, And yeah, I was accepted in that new school. I went and started the term 2 now, Form 3 there. It was really awesome. The VIP treatment was there. It could be felt. Of course, they were expecting now this VIP-ness to proceed to the grades, to proceed to, my participation in class. And it did. Actually, it did. The way we say fight or flight. I could have stayed in the old one and fought and gotten better grade so that I don't feel like I'm wasting my parents' school fees. But I decided flight is a better option in this case. And I went to this new school thinking that starting afresh will do me good, but it did not do me any good, to be honest. If anything, part of my biggest life changes came from this experience of being in a new school, really. My name is Carolina, and this is episode 8 of Dining and Journals podcast. Karibuni. Today's topic is very interesting, and it is part of the ongoing discussion about predatory behavior of teachers on high school students. And this topic is very dear to my heart. All the topics I've been discussing are very dear to my heart. Mostly, I discuss them because they are relatable to me, and it's probably something that I've experienced in one way or the other. And yeah, this is gonna be an interesting one. So I've finally made peace with the fact that me discussing these things is me trying to just, come out and try to pave way for a better adulthood for me. I know. I want my 30s to be less of baggage. I want to have less baggage, to have a better clarity to forge forward with life, Yes, my 20s have been kind of confusing. They have been me trying to make sense of a lot of things in life. And I didn't know that the things that happened to me earlier have had a very big impact on my 20s, subconsciously or consciously, really, because some things happen and I'm like, oh yeah, it's probably because, and then I relate to something that happened once in the past to me. So anyways, this discussion started with one teacher in the Alliance Girls High School, and it is alleged that he has been a predator, like going after the young ladies in that school, young students. And I think, there's a lot to discuss on this one. Some people are saying, some people are on the side of kind of, I think we call them apologists. They are saying, oh, but these girls, sometimes they throw themselves at you. But then again, you look at the power dynamics in such scenarios, This is a teacher and this is a student. It doesn't matter how mature this student seems or they believe they are. who approached who first, it really doesn't matter. The buck stands with one person, and that is the teacher. So, without further ado, let's delve into my story. A few of you know it. If you're new to my life, just getting to know me through the podcast, welcome. And this is how that story goes. A girl is how old was I when I was getting out of that school? I was turning 17. So the first term of my form 3 in my first school, because you remember what I said in the second episode, I've been to 3 high schools and I've explained in detail how I came to be in each of them. So the first phase of my high school life started in a school that I had been, those schools that you select when you're in class 8 and unaitwa tu. So I had been called to a very nice school. It was a provincial school. I think right now they've already made it into like a national school kind of. There was a phase where they were just randomly picking schools based on merit and other things like that. And I haven't really been up to date with how the school is doing, my bad. And I should actually. So at that time we were calling them provincial schools. That means I had passed my KCPE, as you all know. I talked about that earlier. So I had been called to that school. I was going through a lot of stuff back at home. So I found this to be like a chance for me to bring out my rebellious side unknowingly. I swear there's nothing that I did that was deliberate. So it is first, I went to Form 1 there, I went to Form 2 there. It was tough, especially Form 2. Oh my God. Balancing everything, the whole trying to understand yourself as a teenager, trying to balance things back at home also. It was kind of tough on my side. So when I got to Form 3, I decided I don't think this school is very conducive for me. First of all, the school fees is kind of much. My parents have separated, and one of the parents is giving me very serious conditions that I have to follow so that they can keep paying school fees for me. And I'm in my rebellious age. You do not get to tell such a teenager what to do, So what I did is towards the end of that term, Form 3s and Form 4s were being left for 2 weeks for the April holiday so that they can continue with some tuition. I think it was some tuition program or something. So after everybody else have gone home, the Form 1s and the Form 2s, the Form 3s and 4s were left back to study for 2 weeks. That was a new concept to me. I was totally bored. It was also a new concept for the school. They were just trying to, I don't know what they were trying to push, honestly, because you already had me for 3 months. What do you need me for the next 2 weeks anyways? So I'm already confused. I'm angry. I am failing my exams. I do not know whether I can keep up with the conditions that I'm being given so that I can keep going to this school, So the price to pay was kind of much for me. And I decided, since I'm already failing and this school, even if I stay here, I'll probably just be wasting school fees for the parent is paying while still suffering under those conditions because they were kind of harsh. One of them was you're not to talk to your mother, you're not to communicate to her. In fact, my phone was confiscated at some point, I think when I was in Form 2, towards the end, that holiday, the December holiday. So it was chaos. It was very chaotic for me. And at that time, I remember I was going to, how old was I in Form 3? I was 16 years old because I remember I skipped class 6. Yes, I skipped class 6. I'm one of those students. So I am, a 16-year-old in Form 3. That is a young child with a lot of responsibilities. As much as we want to think that 16 is an old person, it's not. I've been 16 and I know. But at that time now, I am, still the firstborn, obviously. And I've had this term, oh my God, you're so mature for your age, way too many times, and it has grown on me. So I think at 16, I even the things I'm doing, the things I am what do I say? The paths that I'm working on are not really a typical 16-year-old's kind of lifestyle. So, anyways, we have been left for the 2 weeks. The tuition, the extended learning. I don't even think we learned anything in that time, but we were too tired, And you kwanza ukikumbuka, you only have 2 more weeks. Ukifunga unaenda home 2 weeks. Hafu mfungue tena. People were tired. So that was my 13th reason why, I had already decided I want to go to another school. I don't know how to approach my parents. And sometimes when your parents separate and they're in bad terms, there's a way that you can, I don't know if kwa Kiswahili tunasema kukulia on both sides. You can liaise with your mother to get one thing and liaise with your father to get another. They're not even talking, so how will they know, Oops. So I knew my best bet would be my mom, because my dad is already giving me conditions that I really do not want to follow. Like, what do you mean I shouldn't talk to my mom and not like tell them anything that's happening, And I'm already at my rebellious age, so you can tell I was obviously not gonna do that. Siku ya kufunga hii, so that we can go home now after the Form 3s and Form 4s have been left back from school. I decided I don't want anything to do with this school. First of all, I have a lot of unpaid school fees from that time. I have a lot of unpaid school fees from Form 2. They were just accumulating. Inalipwa 5,000, inalipwa 3, inabaki like 20. By the time I am in Form 3 first term, ikikuja kuisha hivi, I had like a fees balance of 60. I think I should go to that school and see. Nikona, I think they kind of claimed that as a bad debt and moved on. If they haven't, I'll go and check. So mi najipatia 2 excuses. So when I want, and I know it's not just me, but when I want to leave something or quit one thing and do another, naanzanga kutafutia hiyo kitu ma excuses. Si makosa haswa, like a lot of reasons to convince myself enough that this is the right idea. So to convince myself that the right idea was to move from that school, to transfer myself from that school, I just went, nikaanza ku calculate school fees balance, and it came to around 45. And this is that term. This is Form 3. You're supposed to buy set books, you're supposed to buy, calculator, and a lot of other stuff that would have costed around 10,000. And then on top of that, wakaongezea school fees. So I'm convincing myself that every school term najipata naanguka. My marks are dropping. I'm not concentrating. I'm not like, probably 3/4 of the male teachers in that school who were teaching our class kind of hated me. I was one of the problematic students, And after coming up with all those reasons, I actually wrote them down. That's the same thing I do when I want to leave a job, when I want to leave someone. I do that and I'm just convinced, yeah, this is the right decision. So by the time I am coming up with the whole list, I was so sure that I do not want to be here. I don't deserve to be here because sasa high school fees yote itatoka wapi, And anyways, hata wakingangana walipe, I'll still be letting them down because my grades are bad. I am not really performing according to the grade that I came in with. You're at least you're expected to match that KCPE grade. Ukianguka, maybe uanguke tu kiasi. Probably if you came in with a B+, try to maintain at the B+ or A- or A. Ama ukienda sana we usipite below C+. But me, Wajiro, oh my gosh, I started very well with like an A-. Everybody in Form 1, the first exam was very easy. It was probably just write your name, and describe what is CRE, things like those. So I had really been passing, and then now Form 1 second term, I dropped with 1 grade. Third term the same way. Form 2, the whole of Form 2, oh my god. And then there's this lie that you tell yourself, to drop subject, I know I'm going to have more time to focus on the remaining ones, and I'm going to improve. I did not improve at all. The underlying factors that were making me fail were way beyond the number of subjects that we had. So even dropping subjects that you're not moving forward with did not help me in terms of improving my grades. So what do? Tuition imeisha, it's time to go home, the 2 weeks are over, and yada yada, you get it. So me, first thing I did was pick everything that I thought was important from my box. We used to call them trunk, the metallic box that you go with to the dormitory. I did not take the blanket or anything that would make it suspicious that I'm trying to not come back. I also took several books. Oh goodness. Sorry to anybody watching this who was in Nairobi Girls and you realized that the book you had been assigned to at the beginning of Form 3 was missing. I probably carried it home when I was leaving the school, because I realized now I had a plan. I knew I would go to my grandparents and then convince my mom to take me to a different school. And if I spoke on financial basis, she would totally get it. Because also now she's my parent, she doesn't want me to not talk to her. And me remaining in the other school would have meant not talking to her because that was one of the conditions. So she listened to me attentively once I got home with everything. Like I went with so many things. There was a kulikuwa na kamusi, kulikuwa na dictionary. Not the ones I had gone with. Okay, fine. I was a pretty little thief at that time. Please don't come at me. I didn't know better. But I plan to go back there and do the necessary now that I'm outing myself anyway. So I'm already home. I sat down and told my aunt first to kind of break the ice. And make it easier to talk to my mom. And she talked to my mom, made her see the point. And when it was time for me to talk to my mom, it was way, way easier. I just told her, I cannot go back to that school because first of all, I want us to keep talking. And second, umeona vile naanguka, ndio hii grade yangu. Na wewe pia unajua mambo zenye napitia. Okay, of course I didn't tell her that explicitly, but I said it in line with that, in a way just to convince her one yenyewe uko na point, so that tukiendelea kulipa school fees huko, it's not really gonna cut it, And before I know it, my grandfather has already taken me to the new school, a day school, and I did the interview. That was towards the end of April, before shule zifunguliwe for the second term in May. I did the interview. Somehow I passed. I don't even understand how I did, but I think I had studied for that. Because every time I'm starting on a clean slate, I try to make it perfect. For a while at least, until routine starts boring me and I go back to my old habits. I don't know how it happens, but it does happen like that. So with this new school now, I knew I was going for the interview. I studied, I did some vitu zingine hata nilikuwa naziona for the first time when I was studying for that interview. And I'm pretty sure the teachers had taught in class, And yeah, I was accepted in that new school. I went and started the term 2 now, Form 3 there. It was really awesome. And well, it's a day school. You get how they can be sometimes. So I'm the new girl from a provincial school. I didn't even know that was a big deal like that. And now me with my big English and the vibe from that school. I was kind of a VIP-ish, kind of. I don't want to blow my trumpet too much, but stop. Yeah, so the VIP treatment was there. It could be felt. Of course, they were expecting now this VIP-ness to proceed to the grades, to proceed to, my participation in class. And it did. Actually, it did. For the first, that whole term 3, I was really living up to the name of the new student from the provincial school, and I was giving it my best. Of course, I'm not playing with boys. That's a foreign concept where I've come from. First of all, it's an all-girls school, and at the time I was there, chastity, is it chastity? The not playing with boys and everybody is a virgin kind of vibe was a big deal in that school. At Duko kwa dormitories, the discussions were not like really, it was around like, there are those days that you talk about boys and stuff, but sex-related conversations were not a very huge norm, And then I've moved to this school. It's a mixed school. People have been studying together probably from primary because they are from the same area. Wanajuana too. And I'm that girl who's not playing around with boys. I'm that girl who is like no nonsense, What do you mean? Unaguza nani? That kind of a vibe. So you get how I could be. So I was really painting a picture of the exemplary girl, with exemplary behavior. And I was, what can I say? Like I was coming up in a lot of teachers' conversations with the student, probably when mwalimu akifunza, and then it's like, you keep playing there with boys and you can see, I don't know, can't you be like, and then they mentioned my name, probably, I don't know, but I think at some point they used to, especially this one English teacher who liked me because English. Yeah. So now I'm in Form 3, second term. The new term that I went there was really good. Everything was going perfectly. I am still the good girl. Lakini sasa masomo kidogo, I don't know how to say it, but I was still not catching up as well as I should have. I was not living up to the name. That term now in Form 3 was kind of worse because I've gotten used to the people around me. Tunapiga tu story. I am such a heavy sleeper. Yeah. So ile masaa nafikiria ati nikienda home I'll be studying. Especially considering now the distance that I had to walk to and from the school. I used to get too tired to literally do anything after school. I would probably just help around with the utensils and cooking because it's just me and my grandma and my grandpa, just the three of us in that house. My mom was working at a different place, so she would kind of come to visit every once in a while, but it wasn't really regular. Most of the time hata ni mimi nilikuwa naenda kumtembelea kwake. So at that time it was just me, my grandma and my grandpa and school, So I had to, nikikuja tu napika chakula ya watu watatu, naosha vyombo, I maybe clean my uniform. No, I was not cleaning my uniform because I had like 5 blouses. And I was not even washing my socks because socks ilikuwa 30 bob. I found it easier to just go and buy a new pair in the morning and then do the whole cleaning over the weekend. That was the norm. Now, Form 3 comes, I'm not studying, I'm really relaxing. The underlying effects or, I don't know, the conditions that are making me not study from back in the other school kind of caught up with me because these things are too deep-rooted to be corrected within one term. One term. Within, just because you went to a new school doesn't mean you've become a new person. You have to really be intentional about it. I don't think I was intentional. that me going to a new school was, the way we say fight or flight. I could have stayed in the old one and fought and gotten better grade so that I don't feel like I'm wasting my parents' school fees. But I decided flight is a better option in this case. And I went to this new school thinking that starting afresh will do me good, but it did not do me any good, to be honest. If anything, part of my biggest life changes came from this experience of being in a new school, really, because it's a new environment with new challenges, and I have to adjust and create shock absorbers, if I can call them that, to absorb the shocks in the new environment. And now, this is Form 3, third term. I'm already failing. I seem hopeless. The teachers are retracting their hopes. Yeah, so the hopes that they had of me being the one to acquire the class and just, get that good grade and put the school on the map, blah, blah, blah. There were other students. Oh, God, I can't even begin to tell you how many bright students I found in that school. But now, I don't know what happened, really. I just learned the ways of the land and started living like the people of the land. I had come with so many hopes. I had that timetable when I was getting to that school from the other one. Nilikuwa nishajiambia mimi, I will be an A student, an A minus, but nitaanza tu na like C plus, niende nikipanda hivyo. I'm going to be studying everything that I've missed in Form 1, Form 2. You get the whole thing of kujijaza. Yeah, I had this whole dream and vision. I even had a vision board and a timetable of how I'll be studying. Shetani akikuwekea multibet. Anyway, that time Form 3 meisha, and I've started losing this hope the same way I had lost it when I was leaving the other school. Instead of coming up with a new idea of how to make it better, I started thinking, what if I start Form 4 in a new school? Labda it's this whole idea of being in a day school ndio inani distract. Maybe if I was in a boarding school, like a better one, I could be planning my night preps, my morning preps better. I could be listening to, like the flight thing starts coming in again. Instead of staying and fighting and starting, looking for mbona, what is happening, mbona, what is going on, what can I change? Instead of looking for the underlying issues, it did not cross my mind that it's me, I'm the problem, whether I go to a national school, whether I study at the president's feet, whether I go to a day school in wherever, the ends of the world. As long as I've not changed my perspective or me as a person, as long as sija address the underlying issues that are making me the way I am, the story would have ended the same. It hadn't crossed my mind that I was the main factor in this whole equation. And Form 4 comes in. I've already talked to my mom and I'm telling her, I think boarding school would do me some good. Sio yenye nilikuwa, ingine tu, hatuwezi kosa, and then I start giving her ideas. The one my cousin goes to, that sounds like a good one, and I would totally do good there. And I don't know, I have a very convincing tongue. I can get 2 bucks and she's here on the verge of looking for money. Ndio niingie boarding school towards before first term of Form 4 has gone too far, and nibaki nikiregister exam kwa this old school. Like, you know, once you've registered the exam, there's no going back. So I wanted to at least transfer before before I register KCSE in this school now, the day school that I am in. And I thought a boarding school would do me good. So I told my mom, do you want to know what happened next? And why I started with that whole walimu wa high school preying on high school students? Stay tuned for episode 9. I've been your host, Carolina, and this is the Dining in Journals podcast. Bye.